Okay, and we are live. Hello, everyone. Thanks very much for joining us. As you come in, please smash the like button, whoever's channel you're on, and let us know where you're coming in from. And Bob, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, all things considered, because it was uh, about 60 degrees on Monday. It was 53 when I left for dance class. And
Hmm.
45 minutes later, when I got home, it was 35 degrees. And we were under a blizzard warning. And that blizzard hit here last night. So we've got a layer of ice over everything outside and snow everywhere. But it's not really that deep because the wind's been howling all day. So the snow has all gotten blown away. And the sun's supposed to come out and take care of it for us. So I'm just going to sit in here and watch the snow shovel my driveway, the sun shovel my driveway this time because I'm just out of energy for doing that kind of stuff for this year.
Yeah, just happy to let Mother Nature take care of it all.
Yeah. How about you,
Yeah.
Dave? How are you?
I'm pretty good. Yeah, it's so what is it? It's Thursday morning here, and things are heating up a little bit. It's not as cold as it has been, which is good. And yeah, looking forward to the spring proper. Um, and what is Papa Carnivore saying? Sorry to tell you that it's sunny and 78 degrees down here in paradise.
Yeah, I just looked.
Uh,
It is currently 77 degrees at my property down in Texas.
oh wow. And
So
Ricky's almost home. Oh
yeah,
wow,
Rick
Rick,
is almost home. He's been out doing something today.
you're tuning into us at the moment from your smartphone, I guess. Hey, how you doing? G'day. Wow, everyone's here. So, oh my goodness, we got 47 people in the live stream already. That's awesome.
That is
Thank you very
awesome.
much for joining us. As you come in, please smash like. Also, if you have any questions or anything you'd like us to discuss, please put a massive Q in front of your question or discussion point, and I will get to those. Um, and yeah, let us know where you're coming in from. How you doing, Jay? Good to see you. Uh, the Chikota Kava, how you doing?
Hmm.
Good to see you. And oh, we've got Judith coming in from South Australia. How you doing, Judith? Mike. And another hello from Rick.
I'm guessing Rick just got home, which is why
He
he
must have
typed that
just,
hello in.
yeah.
He must have just walked in the door.
Thanks for joining in, Rick. We've got Granny Boo and Tango and Miss Pearl. And Josephine's looking after a puppy named Cooper. So cute. I have not stopped smiling. Oh, nice.
Hello, Josephine. While
Love
he looks
puppies.
through some more of those comments, I will. For those of you that aren't familiar with the way Dave and I do live streams, I know a lot of times it looks like I'm not actually paying attention to you because if I look straight into the camera, I have my tiny little laptop right in front of me. I cannot read the comments on my tiny laptop. Off this direction, I have my big monitor where I can read stuff. So that's why a lot of the time I'm looking off camera. I'm not looking straight into the camera. I'm not ignoring you. I'm reading.
Mm. So, and while you were talking there, Bob, we've just got a question come through. Um, recently, I started vitamin D, larger doses, 40K. I guess the question is, what do we think about that? Or I'm not sure. Oh, hang on, there's a follow up. Wonder if either of you tried D for organ health. I take without K to get more to my organs. Stage 4. Um, yeah. Have you ever tried vitamin D? Bob? No.
Not really, because I spend all summer outside in the sun. I mean, as you can see, well, I'm not going to pull my shirt up so that you can see how ghost white my chest is, but the darkness to my skin is tan because I spend all summer out in the sun at the miniature golf course. And I figure I'm getting enough vitamin D. Other than that, I don't really know a whole lot about it. I do know that for it to be bioavailable, it needs to be taken with K2. I know Dr. Barry has several good videos about vitamin D supplements, but the best vitamin D supplement you can take is get out in the sun for a half hour every day.
Mm-hmm.
That's really all I know about it.
Yeah. I don't take it. I don't know. I should either take it or get out into the sun, because I'm a bit of a hermit when it comes to that. But yeah, I haven't tried taking vitamin D supplements at all. Okay, Dan, just curious, do you guys buy the entire roast of beef, then cutting yourselves, or do you buy it already pre-cut? I just get pre-cut steaks. How about you, Bob?
When I do both when it's on sale. 99% of my diet is ground beef. And I very rarely, I will get a roast every once in a while, but usually I just throw the whole roast in the oven because I buy them in 1.5 to 2.5 pound chunks of roast and just cook them up and eat them that way. Every once in a while, when like a standing rib roast is on sale, I'll buy one of those. And depending on where it's at, some of the places will cut it for you for no charge and some of them won't. But that's, yeah, I do see a lot of people saving a lot of money. If you've got the room for it, you can save a lot of money buying like a whole roast or a whole like big chunk of meat at a Costco or some other club type store, Costco, Sam's. I'm not sure what they have over there where you're at, Dave, but the big membership stores where they sell big chunks of beef at a pretty good price. And I see a lot of people buying it there, and it's like, yeah, I got these steaks that worked out to about, $5 a pound, which is pretty doggone good for good steaks. But they had to buy the whole big thing, take it home, cut it themselves. And one thing I will say is if you're going to cut it yourself and there's bone in it that you have to get through, you probably ought to have a pretty good bone saw designed for cutting meat, because your average everyday knife is not going to cut through the bone.
Wow. Sounds like you're setting up for the beginnings of a horror movie or something there, Bob. Oh my goodness. G'day, Rory. How you doing? Okay. We've got a couple coming through now. How you doing?
Hey, Bama J.
Thanks for joining from Malaysia. Jack, love your show. Watch it every day and listen in the car on road trips. It's very motivated. Jack, thank you very much.
And Jack's got a question up there too.
Yes. Okay, I've lost 30 kilos on Carnivore. So what's that, about 66 pounds on Carnivore since September 2024. Now I'm hovering on 92 and 94 kilos since January 2025, and I want to get to 75. Any suggestions how to break the plateau? I'm from Phillip Island, Victoria. I know Phillip Island. Phillip Island is down in the southeast, Bob, and that's where they have fairy penguins. Like at night, the fairy penguins come up onto the beach. There's like a penguin parade. It's really cool.
Cool.
Yeah. So hovering, so basically want to lose about 20 kilos, about 44 pounds. How to break the plateau. I would be maybe seeing how much fat you've got versus protein. Maybe you need to increase your fat. Maybe you need to think about increasing fasting. I don't know. Like if you're doing 2 meals a day, maybe see if you can go to one and have that one meal being a little bit bigger than an independent meal had been before. I don't know. Maybe do a little bit of testing like that. Bob, what do you reckon?
I have a completely different answer for Jack. He started in September of 2024.
Hmm.
It hasn't even been a year yet. We don't get to choose what our body heals. A lot of times this happens to people. They lose a great deal of weight early, but then the body says, okay, I need to take a pause. I need to fix this, this, and this. And we can't see what it's fixing. We can't feel what it's fixing. We just have to take a great big dose of vitamin P, which is patience, and understand that you will drop those last 20 kilos eventually, provided you continue to eat the proper human diet. Unfortunately, we don't have a little controller built into the side of our body where we can plug in numbers and say, this is the weight I want to be, and I want to get there before you do anything else. The body has its own mechanisms, and it will take its own sweet time about certain things. I am a perfect example of that. I lost 155 pounds in the first year, and I've lost practically nothing in the last 2 years. I know I still have 20 to 30 pounds I could lose and I would like to lose, but I also notice my muscle mass is getting bigger, my clothes fit better, all of that kind of stuff. So my body is still changing, but the force I exert on the scale is not. So I wish I had a better answer for you, Jack, but this may just be your body saying, okay, we've taken care of all of the easy to target fat. Now we got to do something about this connective tissue over here, or this muscle over here, or whatever it might be. Just know that you're on the right path and you will eventually get there.
Nice. Okay. So Michelle Purcell. Watashi wa Nihongo o benkyou shimasu. So I'm studying Japanese. And since Carnivore, my concentration is much better. Congratulations, Michelle. That's awesome. Yeah. It's studying a language is really difficult. It's hard to stay focused because you can get really tired when you're practicing something over and over again, or you're trying to read a particular thing to remember. And yeah, having improved focus and concentration is such a big thing for language study. So congrats. Nice work. Okay. So we got okay. LM. I am curious about the dawn effect of blood sugars when you are insulin resistant. Fatty acids reduce triglycerides by some sort of glucose process. Could elevated blood sugar be a sign of triglyceride reduction? Oh, that sounds a little bit beyond my pay grade. Bob, do you have any thoughts on this one?
Mm-hmm. Not a lot of thoughts, but the dawn effect, because your body's been asleep, what the dawn effect is when you're first waking up, through gluconeogenesis, it will send a surge of sugar into your body to help get you started in the morning. I'm not sure what you mean by fatty acids reduce triglycerides by some sort of glucose process, because triglycerides are fatty acids. And all I can tell you about triglycerides is that the glycerol backbone has three little fat cells hanging off of it. And the body oxidizes and uses those three little fat cells. That's why it's called a triglyceride. and then the glycerol backbone of the fatty acid. If you need sugar, that is a precursor for gluconeogenesis to use, but gluconeogenesis is a demand driven process. So if your body does not need the sugar at that time, it that backbone just gets flushed out of your system. Other than that, this is way above my pay grade. There are lots of doctors that do live streams out there, and I'm sure they can answer your question better than I did.
Cheers, Bob. Wow, I'm impressed.
By what?
Just like, yeah, I'm very not, yeah, I don't understand much of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So, Mai-chan. Hi, I'm an avid power lifter, but want to try carnivore. Any advice you can give me? Well, as a power lifter myself, I'm not sure, but people seem to do really well in the muscle department when they're on carnivore. You got any thoughts on this one, Bob?
I have the perfect advice for this person.
Mm.
Jonathan has a channel called Carnivore Muscle. Go talk to him. I can tell you, from what I understand, people that do bodybuilding or any other type of serious training, whether it be running or lifting or whatever, when you first transition to carnivore, you will have a dip in performance because you've been using sugar, carbs, and you can pump more carbs into your system really fast and be ready to go. But once you're fully fat adapted, you should see even bigger gains. But that's about as far as I can go with that. Jonathan at Carnivore Muscle, he, despite his back problems, just won a huge bodybuilding competition over in the UK. He is the person to ask about this stuff because just go take one look at his channel and you'll see what a beast of a man he is.
Sorry, I'm just looking for.
Yeah,
I'm just lost something.
I wish I could answer your question fully, but I've never been a weightlifter. I do some now, but I don't do weights. I'm not trying to get bulky. I'm just trying to get more healthy. So instead of going to the gym or having barbells, I have a 47-pound power station that I use to power some of my off-grid things. And I bend over and do chest pulls with it, and then I hold it at waist height and do squats with it.
So I beg to differ, Bob. You have been a weightlifter, as have I, but carnivore helped us get rid of that weight. So
yes.
Yeah. Okay, from Amanda. I lost 23 kilos, 50 pounds, 3 clothing sizes down. Well done, Amanda. Nice
well done,
work.
Amanda. That is worth a high five and a fist bump. Good job.
Nice. Okay, where are we going? Oh, regarding breaking the plateau from the Phillip Island question before, Rory says, I broke my plateau by leaving out milk, cream, and cheese.
Yeah. If you're using dairy is the first thing you should try getting rid of for a while and see if that helps. If you're still using dairy, ignore everything I said about having patience and just cut the dairy out for a few weeks and see what happens. Ask the guy on the other side of the screen from me, because I believe it'd been about a year ago now that Carnivore Kip challenged you to cut out dairy for 30 days. So you cut out the cheese, and I don't think you do cheese anymore at all.
Instant. Yeah, it was just instant. Like, so it was just like my body was carrying water because of inflammation or something. It was crazy. Yeah. So we've got a question here from Josephine. What are your thoughts on bacon? It's lovely, but there's no real stuff in Japan, so it's not on my menu. How about you, Bob?
I love bacon. Bacon is really expensive, so I tend not to buy it. But if I find it, it's been 8, 9 months ago now. I found 5 packages of bacon in the discount bin for $2.50 a pound. So I bought all that they had of that in there, and I love bacon. A lot of people will talk bad about bacon because they're like, oh, well, there's all that sugar that they cure it with. It's not really that much. And if you compare it to everything else, it's still pretty good food. It has a high fat content. The other thing people will say about bacon is, oh, well, you get all those nitrates and you eat too much bacon. That's terrible for you. Well, did you know that there is a new, not that I'm a big pharma guy. I don't say rush right out and take the latest drugs, but there is a new blood pressure medicine working its way through FDA approval that is based on nitrates, because nitrates help with blood pressure. So don't be afraid of bacon. Now, obviously, if you have a choice between bacon or, the maple brown sugar cured bacon, I would go for just the regular bacon and not the maple and brown sugar cured stuff. But bacon is good. Bacon is your friend. It's like the duct tape of food.
The WD-40 of food. Okay, where was my last one? Okay. So XP Computer One. Hello, I'm around 240 pounds at 5'5", and I'm looking to start carnivore to lose around maybe 60 pounds. I heard from Ken Berry, starting with things like bologna or hot dogs, if price is an issue. What are your thoughts? I haven't eaten that kind of stuff, but I have heard him talk about that, and it's basically just eat what you can afford, right, Bob?
Yeah, well, when I started my carnivore diet, I, of course, had ground beef and some roasts. But if you go back and watch my earliest videos, Spam, potted meat, Vienna sausages, meat from the deli counter at the grocery store, all of those were in my diet because I like as I say a lot, bologna and hot dogs are bronze medal foods. Gold medal food is grass finished ribeye steak. That's the best of the best. The silver medal foods, ground beef, not farm raised, but regular grocery store eggs, all of the stuff you get at the grocery store out of the meat case is silver medal food. Hot dogs and bologna are bronze medal food. It's not as good as the silver or gold medal food, but it's still 1,000 times better for you than anything you'll find in the middle of the grocery store that comes in a box, a package, or a bag. So don't be afraid of bologna and hot dogs. Now, obviously, because price is an issue, you'll want to get the lowest carb ones that you can in the price range you can afford. But there is nothing wrong with bologna and hot dogs, especially if you're on a budget.
Thank you for your question.
That's a great question. That's a good question that a lot of people ask. So thank you for it. Yes.
Okay. Paul Mathers, how do you feel about occasional mustard, hot sauce, and mayonnaise? I can't do any of that kind of stuff in Japan because the ingredients and stuff is just preservatives, chemicals, sugar, everything. How about you, Bob?
Yeah. To start with, I would go without all of that stuff just to make sure your system is clean and you can tell what affects you and what doesn't. Mustard, as long as it's just plain yellow mustard that has mustard seed and vinegar in it, nothing wrong with that. There's no carbs in that, but you want to make sure that that's the only thing you're using for a while just to see if you have a reaction to it. I use hot sauce on a fairly regular basis because it's just red pepper and vinegar.
Mm.
And again, one thing at a time to make sure you're not having reaction to it. And mayonnaise, as long as you're using a good, well, Primal Kitchen, I believe, makes a mayonnaise, or there are many recipes out there on Two Crazy Ketos has a butter mayonnaise recipe that you make at home, very simple. Store-bought mayonnaise usually has a lot of seed oils in it, and you don't want that. But as long as you're using clean mayonnaise, clean mustard, and clean hot sauce, and you're not having any reaction to it, use as much as you want because there's no carbs in it. And as long as you're not having any bad reactions to it, and you're seeing the results you want, there's no reason not to use that kind of stuff, especially if it makes the food taste good to you.
Nice. Amy would like to see you dance, Bob.
Yeah, well,
me too. Me too.
There
When's the video coming out?
There are videos in my members only section of me dancing.
Oh, so if we all go and sign up for Bob's membership, that'll help him out, and also we can see Bob dancing.
Yeah, I actually should be another members only video coming out later tonight or tomorrow, depending on when I get it edited, because I recorded myself because the storm was coming in. She canceled classes yesterday, but she has a girl who's doing her senior solo this year. She comes in at 3:30 and I come in at 4, and the temperature wasn't supposed to start dropping till about 5, as far as when the weather with the blizzard coming in was going to get dangerous. So both the senior girl and myself went into the studio, and I was in one of the studios warming up, and I filmed that warm up while she was in the other studio doing her senior solo. So most of my dance videos, for copyright purposes, for the music that gets played, most of my dance videos are 30 seconds to a minute long, but I'm hoping to get a full 2.5, 3 minutes of footage out of what I recorded yesterday. So we'll see. And if you go back and watch my entire video library, there are a couple of short dance clips in a couple of those videos. But I can't remember which ones. So you're just going to have to start at the beginning and watch all 940 some videos I've got on my channel to find them.
Yeah. I want to see Bob with jazz hands.
Jazz hands.
From Meatrician. Hey, Dave Mack, I'm making content on my channel now. Have you ever seen my carnivore history and science database? I don't think so. Could you please send me a link, realzerocarb@gmail.com, and I'll check it out. Thank you. Okay, Joy Dash. Hi guys from Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. Everyone here preparing for Cyclone Alfred, expected to potentially hit us in the next couple of days. Yeah, I heard about that yesterday. I hope everything is going okay. I know my friend on the Gold Coast posted a video this morning. The weather seems quite nice, but I guess that's kind of the calm before the storm. So please take care. Okay, I had some tagged here going through.
And I sort of know where stuff is in Australia now, just from doing this live stream with you, because you have so many viewers from Australia. I at least recognize most of the names now when they come up. You know, Brisbane, Queensland, all that stuff. I sort of know where those are.
Yeah. The easiest thing to remember, like for finding the cities in Australia, is even though it's a big country like the US, basically everyone lives on the coast. So pretty much when we talk about a city, it's always going to be on the coast somewhere.
Yeah.
Um, okay. Joel Dickey, 65, 6-month carnivore, lost 40 pounds, feel great. Most recent blood work revealed my A1C went up. Ideas. I think a lot of people experience this, and I've heard, I'm not going to explain it very well, but I've heard some people explain it as when you're on a carnivore diet, your red blood cells live longer, and as a result of that, the A1C number is likely to be higher. Am I getting that right, Bob?
Yes, yes, you are correct. One of the things that can cause this is because our cells are living longer, including the red blood cells. The A1C tests for an average of 60 days, which is the average of how long a red blood cell lasts. But if your red blood cells are living even just 10 extra days, they have 10 extra days to be exposed to the sugar that's in your blood naturally. And that glycates them more, which can drive your A1C up. Depending on a lot of other factors. And if you want more information, feel free to send me an email at semiretiredbob@yahoo.com. But the A1C is not really the primary concern. That's just the gauge. The A1C is the average of your blood sugar across that 60, 30, 60, 90-day period. That's not what does damage to your cells. It's when you eat sugar and you get the big spikes. It's that top line where the spikes of the peaks and valleys go, where the damage is being done. So as long as you're on a true carnivore diet, you're not getting those big peaks and valleys. Having the steady line go up a little bit is not going to hurt you at all. If you want more information on that, Dr. Barry covers it, Dr. Baker covers it, Professor K covers it. Dr. Paul Mason has a lot of videos about it, so I wouldn't worry too much about it because it's the high spikes that actually do the damage, not the A1C being a little bit elevated.
Cheers, Bob. Okay, Steve the Turd. Dave, I'm going to Japan in 3 weeks. I'm trying to stay close to strict. What would you recommend? Restaurants. Okay, what I'd recommend, if you're in a hotel and you're having breakfast in the hotel, go for just your boiled eggs. Stay away from the bacon because it's like the bacon is a manufactured thing of soy and ice cream sticks painted pink. It's terrible. And like as a carnivore, as soon as you smell it, you know something's wrong with it. So do the boiled eggs in the hotel for breakfast. And as far as restaurants go, you can go to yakiniku, which is barbecue restaurants. They are everywhere. Basically, they're just going to bring meat to your table. It's usually all you can eat. They'll bring meat to your table, and you can just grill it at your table. And so there's nothing in it. There's no seed oils. There's no nothing. Most restaurants, if you go to and ask for just a steak, like it's a family restaurant or something, you can get that. You're going to do okay, even if you're in reasonably countryside areas, because you'll find those barbecue restaurants in most places. So you'll be pretty good. But enjoy your time here. Where are you going? Like if you're going to be in Tokyo or Osaka, Kyoto, you'll be fine. Okay. Question here from Wamfir. Being carnivore since late January, I've been off my pain meds and supplements since February, gave into a craving for a cup of milk last week. Pain was back in 4 days. Won't repeat that mistake. Well, congratulations on your results. And, honestly, I think getting that pain back for 4 days was a good result because it's like it shows you how far you've come. and how sensitive your body now is to a slight change. So I think that's cause for congratulations.
Absolutely, cause for congratulations. And as I say on my channel a lot, forget about making the mistake, but remember the lesson you learned from it. Because everybody's going to make mistakes, everybody's going to have a little something they know they shouldn't have, but the draw of it was just so big, you just had to have it. And then the next morning or a couple of mornings later, you wake up and you realize that you made a mistake. And remembering the pain that it caused can help you make a better choice the next time. But don't beat yourself up, because everybody makes mistakes. It's just the way it is. Anybody that says they don't occasionally have something they know they're not supposed to is lying to you.
Sorry, Bob, could you read this question, please? I just have to deal with a quick message that's come through.
Sure. What kind of meat haven't you tried that you'd like to have a go at? Gee, I don't know. Maybe there are probably some fishes that I would like to try, because I live in Nebraska. If you look at the map of the United States, I'm as far from deep water as you can get, and we don't. The best fish you can get in the state of Nebraska comes from Long John Silver's and Red Lobster. It just, if you want to get fresh fish, like at the grocery store, it's horribly expensive. So several of the fishes I would like to try. Consequently, because I live in, the seedlot capital of the world, I can get a lot of different cuts of beef very cheaply. But I don't get to try a lot of the different fishes that I see people talking about, because even just basic fish here, if you buy it fresh at the store, is really, really expensive. Dave, you got any thoughts on that, or are you back yet? Or
yeah, what kind of meat haven't you tried that you'd like to go at? I think it's typically seafood that I don't go for, and I'd like to give it a try just to see what everyone's harping on about, right? But like something like sea urchin, which when I see it, I'm just like, nah, I'm not eating that. But just to see what the hype is about. But I'd like to try it just once, but it's going to take me years, perhaps decades, to get to the point where I can stomach it, or I can even to keep my eyes closed to do it. Have you ever tried anything like that, Bob?
no. Well, I had some calamari once. I should say I had a taste, because we were at some place. I don't remember where I was. I was visiting one of my relatives that lives near the coast, and we had a big seafood sampler appetizer thing. It was several years ago, way before I started carnivore. It was before my heart surgery. And they said, "Oh, you should try the calamari. That's really good stuff." So I took a bite of it, and everybody went ooh as I spit it right back out onto the table, because I couldn't do it. I couldn't even chew it. It hit my taste buds, and it had to get the heck out of my face right then and there.
Right. So calamari is one of the ones that like I'm not a fan, but I could eat that because it's not slimy. The issue I've got is with the kind of the slimy gooey things like the oysters and sea urchin and all this kind of rubbish. It's given me shivers just thinking about it. It's like I always think about, like, who was the first person that was diving and found one of these things and went, I wonder what that tastes like. It's like I'd be if I discovered something like that, I would just be like trying to run away. Okay, so Michelle, hey Dave, have you been to a Horumon restaurant? So hormone is like offal or organs. I'm going to one in Shinjuku in April. What did you eat there? I'm looking forward to trying intestines. So I have been to one, but probably as a marketing thing, so that people didn't run away screaming. The restaurant was quite dark, and I was also quite drunk at the time. So this is quite a few years ago. So I wasn't thinking too much about what I was eating. I was just kind of shoveling stuff in my mouth. But yeah, so I don't remember. Everything tasted like beer. So yeah, I don't remember. And but I would go back to one, but I'm not in a rush to. But there is one in Osaka called Guts. So I'm thinking about trying that one day. But yeah, it's not high on my to-do list. Have you ever been someone who eats organs?
No,
No.
The only organs I ever ate back in college, I didn't like them. In fact, they were awful. But because I was poor, there was a place in town called Miller's Poultry. And I, of course, couldn't afford to go there to get fried chicken. But I knew what days they killed, because it was good chicken. I mean, because they had live chickens brought in and they slaughtered them right there on premises, and then fried chicken and all that. But you could go up and get livers, fried chicken livers, and fried chicken gizzards, really cheap for great big bags of them. So on slaughter day, because I was so poor, I forced myself to eat that, because, where else can you get a pound of food for 50 cents? So I absolutely despise chicken livers, even fried, and chicken gizzards are even worse because they're chewy. But it was cheap and I was poor, so I ate it.
Gizzards just don't sound nice. Like, it's just like everything about it, even the name says don't do this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Daily Vargas, Dave, you jumping down the stairs has really encouraged me. My favorite videos. I want to see how 30 days carb free can work. Thank you for your work. Yeah, best of luck with it, Daily. I think after 30 days carb free, you're not going to go back, because so many things will change. I mean, you might not be at the point of jumping down the stairs after 30 days. I certainly wouldn't have been, but you are going to feel so much better. You're going to be sleeping so much better. You're going to have so much more energy. It's yeah, I think it'll be hard to go back after 30 days.
Yeah, even depending on where you're coming from, if you go back and look at the transition period of Dr. Barry's channel, if you look at his early videos, he was a ketogenic guy. He was keto all the way. Keto is what he talked about. And then he did a 30-day beef, butter, bacon, and eggs challenge. Was his first foray into carnivore. And even after being keto for several years, he felt so much better after doing carnivore for 30 days. He just kept adding 30 days to it. And now look where his channel is, as a carnivore channel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We've got a comment here from Recovering Foodie. Awful or awful? Yes, good point. Yeah. And yeah, guts. Get a grip. Okay. Do we have any more questions? We got no more questions. So guys, we've still got 15 minutes. If you've got any questions, please put your questions in. Anything you'd like us to discuss. Um, Bob, have you eaten your last meal for the day? You still got to have
Yeah,
another meal?
no, I did already eat because for whatever reason, well, because of dance, I ended up having just a small meal after dance yesterday. So I normally wait till after the live stream on Wednesdays now to eat, but I got really hungry. It was about 1 o'clock here, and I'm like, I'm ready to eat now. So I had a pound of ground beef with a side of beef patties. I had 4 quarter pounders
Oh,
because
wow.
I buy a 1 pound beef packages, or I make them myself, and then I also buy the pre-made patties. And today I had a pound
Ah,
of loose ground beef and then 4 pre-made patties. So
wh- wh-
I had beef with a side of beef.
when you said quarter pounder patties, I immediately went to, oh, he's gone to McDonald's and ordered something.
No, no. I I make all this. I don't eat out. I just
Mm,
don't. I mean, the I've eat since I started carnivore. I've eaten out 3 times and gotten sick 3 times.
right.
So I just don't eat out.
Nice. So, Aid, what is your favorite steakhouse in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia? Aha. The only one I've ever been to, the Norman Hotel. Um, so um, Aid actually picked me up from the airport and took and came along to our meetup in Brisbane, Australia, Bob. And the meetup was at a place called the Norman Hotel, and it's a steakhouse, and their slogan is Brisbane's worst vegetarian restaurant. So yeah, my favorite steakhouse is Brisbane's worst vegetarian restaurant. Um, okay, so Penny loves dance. I was keto and OMAD for several years and was suffering quite a bit with fibromyalgia, hair loss, serious weight gain, and more. Carnivore 1 month and feeling so much better. That's fantastic, Penny. Nice work.
Fantastic. And I wish that that was the only person I'd ever heard that from, but it seems so common that I I don't want to say keto is bad because many people do very well on keto, but I've also seen a lot of people that were keto switch to full on carnivore and their health improves overnight.
Mm,
Congratulations, Penny. I'm glad you found carnivore.
mm. So, Michelle, who eats brown butter bites? I made some yesterday and they're delicious. Something I've still got to try. Have you ever tried them, Bob?
Yeah. I don't know that I'd call the ones I made brown butter bites. They were more like brown butter bowls because I don't have the tiny little forms. So I took several sticks of butter, browned it up, and then poured it into all I have is a muffin tin.
Mm.
I didn't fill the muffin tin up, but I filled each muffin cup up about halfway. So they're pretty good size. They were pretty good sized chunks of butter. But yeah, brown butter is really good. I
Mm.
will do that when I'm making my eggs sometimes now. Instead of just letting the butter melt and warm up before I dump my eggs in to scramble them, I'll actually let the butter sit there and brown and then dump the eggs in and scramble it. And I call it brown butter eggs. Those are really good too.
Ooh, ooh, nice. All right, we got a question here from Lucy. Have you ever heard of anyone's jaw changing shape from a carnivore diet? My back teeth have started to straighten up. It's the strangest thing. I haven't heard of this, but it kind of makes sense given what you hear ancestrally about the way our jaws are formed. Have you ever heard of this, Bob?
I haven't, but again, I do know a lot of people that their jaws get stronger when they go carnivore because there's much more chewing involved in eating meat, especially if you're eating steak or roast every meal when you have been eating the processed mush that they sell in bags, boxes, and packages. I can see
Mm.
why people's jaws get stronger, and I can see why your teeth might be straightening up. It may just be all the muscles around your jaw getting stronger and tightening up. But
Mm.
I don't know that for a fact. I'm certainly not a doctor. You know, don't listen to me. I'm just an old retired truck driver. What the heck do I know?
LM, do you think it's okay to do an extended fast, 3 to 5 day fast is okay to do once a month? If it feels good, I say I don't see an issue with it. I've done a few fasts like that. I feel really good while I'm doing it. I'm not overly fond of the beginning part of the process because, like at the start, you do feel a little bit like you're going to be depriving yourself. I think, but when you're on a fast, for me, I always feel good. Your thoughts on that one, Bob?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a 3 to 5 day fast once a month. I know people that fast for 5 to 7 days once a month, but I'm not a big faster because other than my intermittent fasting, I eat once a day, so I get roughly a 24-hour fast between every meal. But the thing about a ketogenic diet slash carnivore diet is that it's already a fasting mimicking diet. You get most of the benefits of fasting while you're still eating, which is why I don't fast much.
Mm.
I did just fast a little bit because I was sick a couple of weeks ago, really sick. So I missed a couple, 3 days of eating because I just didn't feel like eating. But yeah, no, to answer the question, there's nothing wrong with having a 3 to 5 day fast once a month.
Mm.
The first time you do it, just make sure you break the fast slowly because some people have problems after they've fasted a little bit. Eating food can upset their stomach. So I would start with one scrambled egg or a cup of bone broth. Let that sit in your stomach for a couple hours, then go to town on whatever meal you got.
Mm. Okay, so from Frank, hi from down under, Dave. Watched most of your videos. Keeps me motivated as a carnivore since October 23. Dave, read non-seafood eater yourself, an Aussie. Surely you must love prawns. Oh yeah, I love prawns. Yeah. Yeah, I really like prawns. Like I remember living in Hong Kong back in the 90s, and I was eating like garlic prawns for dinner every day, almost every night. Didn't make my roommates happy probably, but it was it was delicious. Love them. Do you like prawns or shrimp, Bob?
I do like shrimp. I like shrimp a lot. Again, really expensive here in Nebraska. The year I spent down in New Orleans,
Hmm.
I had shrimp 4 or 5 times a week because shrimp and crawfish and all that kind of stuff was really, really cheap down in New Orleans, but steak was not cheap. So I had a lot of seafood the year I spent in New Orleans.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, yeah, do you remember that ad from back in the day promoting Australia where Paul Hogan says chuck another shrimp on the barbie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like actually saying it as an Australian, he should be saying chuck another prawn on the barbie. Yeah. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah. Um, so I don't think there's any more questions. I don't think I've missed anything. Let me have a
Yeah,
look.
I see a lot of conversations going on. Oh, LM just popped one in down there at the bottom.
Oh,
But
LM. Okay, let's have a look. Most of the people watching the live are carnivores. I want to get my 2 adult sons to watch and ask questions. Do you have many newbies? I don't know, but I guess people that tune in are probably people that are already familiar with us, and so they're more likely to be carnivores already, I guess. But they're welcome to come and watch and ask questions. And yeah, I mean, there are some Facebook groups out there that if you ask a kind of a newbie question, they'll be like, kind of very strong or very rough responses and things. I've seen that kind of thing in Facebook groups, but we're not going to respond that way. And I don't think anyone in the chat would respond that way either. We're all trying to help each other. It doesn't matter what point you're at in your journey.
Absolutely. Have them show up. We'll be back here in 2 weeks' time. I believe. Let me take a quick look at the calendar. Yeah, that'll be the 19th. I believe is 2 weeks from now. Dave and I we usually talk about that off camera, but just keep your eye out. It'll be the 19th, probably, unless Dave has a conflict. And have them stop by and ask whatever questions they want, because I know everybody that watches my channel would love to have newbie questions. And even if they don't make it to the live, if they ask their question in the comments that show up underneath the videos after they're posted, Dave and I both are pretty good about answering comments. And we both have a lot of people in our community that like answering questions that people ask in the comments as well. So there's plenty of non-judgmental help to be had between our two channels.
Yeah. And that said, thank you very much for joining us, everyone. Really appreciate you coming on into the chat, putting your questions in, and being with us for the hour. And as Bob said, we'll be back with you in about 2 weeks. Thank you. Elizabeth, hang on a second.
Yeah, I was just scrolling
Elizabeth
back
says,
up.
I have asked I have questions 2 times now. I guess you missed my 2 questions. Can you see, Bob?
Up at the 517 mark.
Is that it? I always have a stick of butter with my meal, steak or fish. Is that enough fat? Is that enough fat? Probably. If you're not feeling hungry at all, then probably.
Yeah, all I can say is that everybody's a little bit different here. If you've been doing this for a while, try adding a little bit extra and see how you feel. And then after a couple weeks of that, cut it back to a little bit less and see how you feel. The only way you're going to know for sure is to see where you feel the best. But a half a stick of butter with steak or fish is probably enough fat. If you're on, yeah.
So sorry to interrupt, Bob. Rory actually has got a good response to that as well. It depends on how you poop. It tells you how much fat you need. So, yeah, if you're suddenly urgently running to the bathroom, then you probably had too much fat. If you're struggling to do anything in the bathroom, then you haven't had enough.
That's a good way.
Very good measure.
That's a good way to judge it. As I have said before, keep adding fat till you explode, and then back it off just a little bit.
Yeah, very very graphic way to end the live stream. So thank you very much, guys. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thanks for stopping by, guys.